Guys, Lou here from LT's Custom Woodworks. Welcome to the shop. Today, another dollar. Today, we are getting started on a kitchen table, refinishing it. I'm going to sand it down. The legs are going to be black, and this top is going to be a lighter brown, I guess. I still got to send her samples, and she's got to pick what color she wants. And then of course it's followed by 4 chairs that I need to put together, and we're either going to go with a cushion top or vinyl with a vinyl back seat or a cushion back seat. That hasn't come to determine yet. I'm going to get started on the table first, then we're going to work on the chairs and go from there. So today I'm going to start sanding down the table. I'm going to take apart the skirting. It makes it a lot easier to sand everything in between. I will have to patch this as well. Other than that, taking this skirting off is going to make life a lot easier. So I'm going to start off with that, sand this down, sand the tabletop down, and go from there. I'm going to pop these steel nubs up as well. Makes it a little bit easier to sand instead of sanding around. These are metal. I'll pop those out. I like to take these little blocks off. It just makes it much easier when you're sanding. It doesn't get in the way. You can lay it down properly. So much easier. And it's only 2 screws, so why not? I'm going to start off with sanding down the legs. I will take these pads off and replace them. And I'm just using a 220, or sorry, a 180. And that's that. I got 2 more legs to go. And this is pretty much ready for a 220 sanding and ready for paint. I got my paint mixed. Now I'm ready to spray 2 coats of paint. I have these hanging from the bolts. It's easier to get all the way around, and it's the best way to do it. I'm going to put 2 coats of black paint, followed by 3 coats of varnish. I got 2 coats of paint on the legs. I'm going to spray a sand and sealer, and I'm going to wait about 15 minutes. I'm going to be generous with the coats. I'm going to put the sand and sealer on first. I'm going to wait about 15-20 minutes. I'll give it a light sand with the 220, and then followed by 3 coats of varnish. These all dried out nicely. Now we're gonna get started on getting the table stain. I'll toss these off to the side for now. We're going to give this a good mix. We'll do the table first, and then I'll do all these little small pieces. And this color here that we're using is Early American. I'm just going to do the one coat. A lot of people say that you waste a lot of stain when you use a brush, but I just find it so much better. You can put the stain on so much easier, and it's way faster. Now that the stain sat for about 5.5 hours now, 6 hours, I'm ready to put a sand and sealer on. Same routine as all the other times. I'm going to put a generous coat. I'll wait about 20 minutes. Usually 20 minutes it's pretty much dry. Then I will sand it with a 220. Now that this sat for 20 minutes, I sanded it down and I'm spraying my clear on, and I'm using, it's Veracure. This is a product from Chemcraft. It's actually a really good product. It's hard to a finish. It's almost like, kind of like shellac, Varathane in between, but a little bit better. And it's a little pricey, but it works wonders. I like their products. So I figured I'll give this a whirl today and go from there. So I'm going to spray 3 coats. I'm going to put a coat. I'm going to put a coat every 15 minutes, and I will sand it with 220 between coats on this one. That wraps it up for this. The table and the legs are getting delivered tomorrow. I'm going to get started on the 4 chairs. I believe they're being painted black. They might change it to this color, don't know yet. I might even have a few chairs already assembled in stock. I'm going to get the finish coat put on it. And I can start on the seat, which is going to be cushioned. And also the backrest is also cushioned. So I'm going to get started on the 4 chairs, and these are going to get delivered tomorrow. Now I'm getting ready to spray the chairs black. I'm going to spray 2 coats on 4 of these chairs. And then tomorrow I will spray my sand and sealer and the clear as well. So I'm going to get started by, I'm going to flip these upside down. I'm going to spray my first coat, then I'll flip it up, spray the top, and I'll do that all the way down the line. Paint's dry, ready for the sand and sealer. I'm going to put a generous coat, let that sit for about a half hour, 20 minutes to a half hour, and then I'll sand her down. I got some Baltic birch plywood, 3/4 inch is what I'm going to use for the seats. Now I am going to sand this down and also sand the edges down a bit. So basically I just have a 1/2 inch overhang in the front, and I just marked it even on the sides. By the time I put my my fabric and everything on it, it'll be sticking out a slight. So that's 1 seat cut. I'll round off the edges at the very end. I got 3 more to do. Okay, so now we're going to start the upholstery. And I'm going to start by cutting the 1.5 2 inch foam. I believe it's 2 inch. And we're going to start gluing it down. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mark it with a marker, and then I will cut it out with my scissors. The foam is good. And it is. I'm going to put a generous coat of my glue. Now the first coat, it just sucks it right up. I will put a second coat. I'll wait a few seconds. I'll put a second coat. And then I will cut my fabric before I staple it down. So I'm just going to make sure that I have a little bit of overlap around all the corners, and then I'm going to cut my fabric. And that is perfect. I'm going to start off by doing my corners, or the middles. And I put one on each side of the middles. And I double check the front. to make sure we're on pattern here. That looks like it could be shifted over a bit. Maybe not. Then I just give it a slight pull. I will double check everything on this side. Then I'm going to come around. I'm going to cut this excess off here. Now I'll bring the camera in closer so you can see how I'm wrapping these corners. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to cut this. I take the corner, oh, I'll put one here. I'll take this corner and I'll fold it over. Then I'll take this corner, fold that seam over, and do the same thing to this side. And then I'll do the same thing to this side. Take the corner. Now I'm going to Scotch guard this before I put it in place. So I'll spray some Scotch guard on right now as we speak. Then I'll set it off to the side. And I will put 2 coats. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut my piece just a little bit bigger on the backrest. Just so it gives me a little bit of play. Okay, so normally I wouldn't put a plywood backing. I would use, you get your fabric, you'd get your batting. I would put my my webbing on, and then my cushion, and then fabric over top. But on this design here, we're basically going to put some plywood in behind. A lot of people don't like to use that. They say that if the plywood, let's say a child kicks the back, the plywood breaks, then you're stuck. Where if you have webbing in there, it's got some spring back. This is pretty thick plywood. I don't think it's gonna break. You'd really have to smash the hell out of it for it to break, which I can't see that's gonna happen. Again, I'm just gonna mark out and then I'm just gonna cut it out. And this is 1-inch foam that I'm using, or sorry, 1/2-inch foam that I'm using for the back. Now I will cut a little bit of this backing. Now I'm going to cut it extra big for now. I'm not going to wrap it around. Normally I would wrap it around. On this one, I'm not going to. And I will resize it. I'm going to make it just a touch smaller than the padding below. The reason for not wrapping it around, is it's going to be easier, once I wrap the fabric, it's going to be easier for this to sit inside the slot of the chair. Now I'm going to put a little bit of glue just to hold this in place. And that is it right there. I will flip it over just to make sure that we're on the right track and it's looking good. We'll do one in the middle. One in the middle. Okay. Now a lot of you guys are wondering, how am I going to attach this? Because I can't attach it from the back because there's fabric. What I do is I put it in place. I'll pull the fabric back. I got 3/4 inch pins and I just shoot it in. You don't see the pins at all whatsoever. and I will just screw it in like that. Now I don't like to use a cordless drill because you can easily strip it, and I just snug them up for now. Once I put the seat on, then I'll snug all the screws up at once. And I will put these in the middle of all of them. On all 4 sides. Three more to do. I got all the 4 chairs done. It's all complete. The other chair is on the other side there. I'm going to let the Scotch Guard dry. I will spray one more coat, and then she's ready to be delivered. I'll wrap it up for this video. If you guys are new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, don't forget to hit the notification bell so you're notified every time I upload a video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.